one of my most nerve-wracking things about doing this was the first couple of months learning how to back this trailer.
Along these roads we roam, we find adventure through traveling, camping, boondocking, and exploring.
Hello everybody and welcome to vlog number 5. My name is Russ.
And I'm Carrie.
And we are the Roads We Roam.
We are reporting to you from Hartsville, Tennessee. We are still at my father's house.
I think we'll be here for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great just being back here. We haven't been able to spend time with my side of the family in a while, and luckily both my sisters and my dad are all in the same area, so one-stop shop.
Yep, good times.
High today of 41. And low going a little bit colder than last night, down to 22.
22. What did it get down
last
to?
night was 25.
25? Okay, 3 degrees. We were nice and toasty warm in here. I didn't have any problem. So, yeah, bring it on.
That's right. What did we do today? Well, today, Russ worked on some video.
Yeah.
Over at my sister's, getting that free Wi-Fi.
Wonderful having fast Wi-Fi, not off the jetpack or a phone or something.
And my niece Alyssa, she is a student at the Aveda Institute in Franklin, Tennessee. And they have, through her class program, they have to have volunteer models to come in and, do some of their stuff on them. And I was the lucky recipient of her very first haircut.
Looks good. Alyssa, you did a fantastic job.
Thank you. I told Russ, as I was sitting in the chair, I got a little bit teary-eyed because I'm doing it now. Because I remember when she was little, when she was 5 or 6, and she would always ask me, Auntie Carrie, can I do your hair? And I would just sit down, and she would just sit there and brush my hair and try to braid it, and it would be all nuts. You've come a long way, Alyssa.
Yeah, I think my best childhood memory of Alyssa is when I had the flu. She was probably about 3 years old, and she sat downstairs and watched TV with me the whole time. But she should have, because she's the one that gave me the flu in the first place.
She felt bad. She had that guilt complex.
She's a sweetheart as a little girl and as well as an adult.
Yes.
Okay.
So our high-low for the day, I think we're going to harken back to our first thing we touched on. For me, at the very least, I don't know for you, the fact that we got through last night with 25 degrees outside and no issues.
No issues, no pipes, no nothing.
Nice and toasty warm.
Yep.
In the little guy Max.
Yep.
That was definite win. I will take it.
Yep.
And for a low, I have none to report.
Me either.
There was nothing today. Today was a great day. Which brings me on to the topic of the day.
Yeah.
I figured since yesterday we had talked about the issues that we had the first 3 weeks, let's talk about some of the high points on the road with the first 3 weeks going full-time.
Yeah.
One for me, even though it may sound funny because I wasn't the one driving, anytime we got a pull-through campsite, I got excited about that. It's like easy. If we didn't want to unhitch, we didn't have to.
Yeah, well, and it's nice to take things slow. I'd be lying if I didn't say that one of my most nerve-wracking things about doing this was the first couple of months learning how to back this trailer. I've never really backed a trailer until now, so we did practice a little bit. We've only had to do it once, I think, at one campsite, and it went real well. So, yeah, that's definitely a one of the good things. We've had mostly pull-through campsites.
We've had it easier on the road, I think, than we did when we were at home. Because anytime we had to take the trailer out, we lived on a very narrow street. And
with a lot of cars on that street,
a lot of cars. And trying to back it into the driveway just right. I think that was probably more nerve-wracking than any of the
it was good practice for us, though.
Yeah.
We probably learned more than what we thought we did.
That's true.
Excellent.
Second one, I think the sense of pride in figuring out the issues. For every issue that comes up, being able to successfully get through it, I think that is a high point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes you feel good when you figure stuff out, because again, another nerve-wracking point going out on the road, especially for people like you or I who are not mechanics, who are not inclined to work on stuff, is what if something happens? What if I'm out in the middle of the, middle of nowhere, national park, national forest, and something breaks? How do I get it fixed? And yeah, definitely. It makes you feel good when you realize that you're self-reliant.
Definitely.
Yep.
I put down people we meet and being able to see people that we normally wouldn't get to.
Yes. Yeah. There's
we've
a
met
lot
some
of interesting
really,
people out on this
definitely,
road.
Well, you had one from the first time when we were at Rainbow's End.
Yeah, Dennis Rekla. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but Dennis was into astro photography, and I don't know if that's the correct word. He takes pictures of stars. And we were just talking about what we did, what he did in his in his career, and what I'm doing right now. I mentioned that I worked for a metal detecting company, and he said, which one? So I told him it was First Texas Products, which was Fisher, Technetics, and Bounty Hunter metal detectors. And he mentioned, oh, this is how he said it, and it kind of blew my mind. He said, oh, I used to work with Charlie Garrett. Charlie Garrett. That's Garrett Metal Detectors. Yeah. Now, they are a competitor of ours, but they're the very best competitor that you could ever wish for. They're good people, they do good business, and they play the game fair. You couldn't ask for any better competitor than that. Mr. Garrett passed away a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was really weird hearing Paul call him Charlie Garrett. Because I had only heard...
Dennis.
Dennis, yeah, I don't know where I got Paul. I'm sorry, it was interesting to hear Dennis call Mr. Garrett Charlie Garrett. Because I'd only heard of Mr. Garrett referred to in two ways. Charles Garrett and Mr. Garrett. There's a lot of respect for Mr. Garrett in the metal detecting world. So it was neat to talk to somebody who knew him before and hear about all their little exploits. So yeah, that was very cool.
Also at Rainbow's End, when we were there, Mike and Louise, that was our first reach out from people at a campground based off of our blog or our sites, or in hearing or knowing about us, and just greeting us that way. It was a very interesting experience to go through, and just wound up having a great evening with great conversation.
When they came over to the door, when Mike came over to the door, he knocked on the door, and it was very polite, and he said, Russ and Carrie? And that blew me away. I was like, how does he know our name? I thought maybe he worked at the campsite, and I don't know, maybe we did something wrong or something. So it was a great time. We went over there, had some wine, got to talk some story, told us about how they make their living, as well as how, their experiences, because they were in a tab before their Lance. So we got to bounce some questions off of them about living in a small, confined place.
Yeah.
So it was a great time.
We had Kevin Rita. Now, this happened before we actually hit the road full-time, probably about 3 weeks before.
It was such a good experience. We'll bring them into this.
We're bringing them into this because I think they set the foundation and really gave that experience, gave us the reinforcement that we needed as we were just getting ready to hit the road. The couple weeks right before you actually pull the trigger is probably the most nerve-wracking. Are we making the right decision? Are we not? Are we making a big mistake? Are we crazy? And when we came back from that weekend, I think we were both on the same page.
Yeah, we were ready to go.
That's right. Can we do it sooner?
Exactly. And Kevin and Rita just really confirmed what we had read and what we had heard about how nice most of the people are on the road, because they were truly great people, willing to share a lot of information. They helped us out. We didn't have one of our tires was low on our truck. They hooked us up with a tire pump type deal, and I bought one, Kevin, the same one that you had because
we
I
knew
loved it.
he was going to.
Yeah. Okay.
And then building up on what I mentioned earlier about seeing people that we normally wouldn't get to. Your hunting buddies, EJ, Yoda, Brandon, Heath, and Scott. All of you. Russ, I've heard your names for years, and Russ has talked about you so often, and having the ability now to meet up with these people and get to have a great day or 2 or 3 to go hang out with these people and build on those memories.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that part where we're able to do that now.
Well, before this, it's really weird, these internet friendships that you gain with people. You feel like you already know them because we've conversed, over the phone. We've first started off with email. We follow each other on YouTube, and we chatted back and forth.
Facebook, yeah.
So when you first get to meet them, it's like I've already known these guys for years, and I have, but it's like they were
physically
good friends.
been in front of them.
Yeah,
before.
the only 2 that I had met before this trip was Heath and Scott.
Okay. But it was my first time meeting any of these people, and I had a sense of being familiar with them
You could put a face to the name.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
And then sights. Being able to stop and see all the cool roadside attractions, things that we were just too busy for in our normal daily life.
Yeah.
Or whenever we did have a chance to go on vacation, you had such a short window of time that you would just get on the freeway, drive nonstop.
Yeah, and it comes into that old saying, the the destination is the journey, or whatever. I mean,
sounds corny, but it's true.
It is,
at least for us.
It is, definitely. I agree with you. Got to see a lot of things. Got to stop and see everything from a giant frog to the Statue of Liberty replica to you name it. I mean, we just went and saw some pretty cool things.
And then being able to stay so far with the places that we've stayed at, Oak Mountain State Park in Alabama is my favorite.
It's beautiful.
We hit it at just the peak of their fall foliage colors. The weather was a little rainy, but you still had these moments where the sun poked through, and it was just gorgeous. I just remember sitting outside and looking up through the tree canopy and then walking down to the water where there's a
definitely.
dog. And I love that. I wouldn't have had that.
Well, and for you and I, we have not seen the fall colors in a very long time.
No.
So it's really cool to see.
I grew up in Connecticut, and I did not realize how much I missed. I mean, I had always said fall was my favorite season, but I didn't realize how much I missed it. When we came into Oak Park, we came in through the back gate.
It's actually Oak Mountain.
Or Oak Mountain State Park. And we came in through the back gate, and as we rounded this one corner, it opens up. It's very wooded, and it opened up, and there's this large body of water, and you're going on this bridge. And I can't even remember what I said, but I said something so non-typical to myself. I remember you laughing at it, get out or something.
I was like, who are you?
But it just made me feel alive.
Yep.
And
definitely.
So
you'll have to see Tannehill State Park. I know you didn't get to go there. I went there because I was on another trip with my buddy Brandon, but you'll love Tannehill State Park.
Well, we definitely plan on going back there, so we'll put that on the list.
Yep.
Now on to our viewer engagement section. First one, Elizabeth Gallahan, she made a comment. She said, I can't wait to hear about how you heat up your LG Max.
Yep,
and this was in response to us talking about the cold weather and whatnot. And, what we've done is we have the propane. We bought an extra propane tank just to keep on hand. That way, in case of any emergencies in the middle of the night. So now we have 2.
We got a little gun shy when we lost stuff, so we decided we need an extra.
But then we also have an, actually, babe, can you reach and just grab that one?
Yep.
This is just a little electric space heater, and it oscillates back and forth. And what I like about it is if you barely touch it, it'll turn off. So if the dogs nudge it, or if something happens in the middle of the night, it's got good safety features with it. But having that run last night kept it a little warmer so that the the main furnace didn't have to turn on and off as often.
All we did was set the furnace and the little guy max to 68, and we ran this, and it was nice and warm.
Yeah, we got up in the morning, and it was perfectly fine until we opened up the front door to take the dogs out for a break. Then we realized how cold it was.
Before we move on, Elizabeth, I want to thank you so much for all your support and your engagement on Facebook. She's really been active on our Facebook posts inside the Little Guy Max Facebook.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
So definitely, thank you.
We also have a comment from Mary Mickle Robertson Spence.
That's a mouthful.
I know. She had a question from our Visiting Alabama video that Russ put up on Saturday.
Yep.
How did you realize you had a propane leak? Well, I'll take that one because Russ had first realized we were out of propane. Ooh, sorry, Kiana. Early in the morning, and then he had gone out for a hunt during the day.
Actually, what happened? I called you and I said, "Can you smell propane here?" I wasn't sure if it was because I had just changed it and there was propane in the area, but I smelled something. So I think that kind of clued you in to keep an eye on it. Be a little bit
more aware.
Yeah, definitely.
So later in the day, I had gone back out to check something, and I lifted up the cover again, and I did smell it. So I tried to investigate a little bit further, and as I got down closer, my hand nudged the tubing. And when it touched the tubing, I heard a very loud hiss. Yeah, it was a psst.
Wow.
So I realized that there was something from there. So I did this little test. I can't remember where I had ever heard of it. Take some soapy water, run it along there, and then you could see. And sure enough, I could see bubbles start forming right where the leak was coming in. It was right where the metal met the rubber tubing.
Yep.
It was right along that part. So I think when we had gone over a bump or something like that, it must have, created a weak point.
So,
right
real
there.
simple answer, Mary. How we realized it was smell, sound, and then the old soapy water test.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. And then the last one, Kathy Vanderbilt commented on our Visiting Alabama video.
Mm-hmm.
We just filled our propane tank and plan on 3 nights of cold weather camping next week. So we're not the only crazy ones camping in the cold weather.
Well, there's a lady, I can't remember her name. It's Randy's something on YouTube. I'll put a link to her videos below. They hunt. They camp in the Little Guy Max in Wisconsin in the snow.
Okay,
so, yeah.
You win. Randy, you win. You win. I know we'd be moving on.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
And then she just said, I hope we have better luck than you all.
Kathy, I definitely hope you have better luck than us too. But it really wasn't all that bad.
No.
And thank you for watching the video, and thank you for commenting on the video. For the rest of you folks, we've had a couple people mention our Visiting Alabama video. I'll put a link to that in the description, and I may pop a card up here.
And that Visiting Alabama video is one of those feature videos where we show the footage of the places that we've gone and people that we've talked to and things like that.
So we wanted to bounce something off y'all and see if you thought it might be interesting. We're thinking about taking the audio portion of these vlogs and turning them into podcasts. That way people who are on travel or driving in their car, you can listen to it. So let us know if that would interest you, if you'd be interested in these on podcast as well. If we do that, I think we change the name to Vlogcast.
Ooh, very creative.
Definitely, definitely. But again, please let us know if you have any other questions, comments, concerns. Pop them in any of our social media posts, and we'll get to you. And thank you so much for listening.
Now, don't forget to tune in tomorrow. In the meantime, check out our site at theroadsweroam.com, or check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or even Pinterest. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.